We've been playing with Mercury retrograde, so we're a little bit delayed. It's the most fun thing that when we try to use new technology during the retrograde, my cheeks are so hurting because I'm just smiling so big. It's so funny, like how things work. Out. I'm so honored to be in this show today. I just introduce my guests. I would like to mention that Guardian and Yolanda Marie were and still are in many ways the example of like what I thought, okay, fine, I'm going to do YouTube. These two are doing this, and I can do that, and I could be me still. The example of who they are and the torch that they've carried is why I am higher vibrations. And the fact that I get to have them here today in this very powerful show. I don't know if you guys know this, but today is this channel's anniversary, March 4th, to Trudge Forward. Uh, and it's 111 right now. um, this anniversary is 5 years we've been doing this show, and it's because these two. And so, what a better way to have, what a better way to have a show is to have like my YouTube heroes from the beginning be my guests. So, welcome, both of you. I love you
Thank
both so
you.
much. Thank you for coming. How are you?
Yolanda.
Doing doing well. I have got my cucumbers and water and tea here because there's a lot going on with the energy as always. So I got a lot about that. But other than that and lack of sleep, doing well.
Yeah, no sleep, right?
Yeah, I'm very glad to be here. Also to be an inspiration, and I'm very grateful that we have done so much together for
Yeah.
the past 5+ years. And I just realized, and that means that in this May, it's going to be like 6 years, since I
Yeah.
started putting stuff on YouTube. So, damn, like a lot of stuff have happened in the past 6 years. Like we've changed a lot. The world has changed a lot too, and it's still doing it. And I guess we're going to talk about that a lot too. So,
Yeah.
anyway, also like later, like if we like go into like that type of topics, like I had some very crazy and interesting like astral experiences, especially during this like a full moon that we just experienced. I think we're still in the energy of it though.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
Mhm.
so
You
very
wait
vivid
there.
dreams and experiences, lack of sleep, as Yolanda said. So yeah, I'm fully experiencing that as well. So
Well, you're welcome to just jump right in. I want to hear what happened.
no, okay, okay. So basically, there were like two experiences. I think like one after the other, and both of them had this like transmutational type of a thing, thematic going on. Like on both, like I was in locations that I recognized from my life. It's not a place that I live in, but I recognized. And in both locations, there was this strange experience that like things started to shift. And for example, like one of the locations was a where my grandparents lived when I was little, out in a village. And all of a sudden, like these strange black wild horses started to like invade everything. But they were like very strange because like they weren't they were like made of this very strange dark substance, and they were like emitting a blue energy from inside of them. Like everyone was very scared, like everyone like ran to shelter and all that except me because I'm crazy. And I went out and I tried to like tame the horses with like speaking light language to them. And then while I was doing it, I recognized like they are not the problem. Like they were sent by something like a foreign interference or something that is in the distance making all of this happen. And as I realized that, I was like searching for it, and I like grabbed it in the distance. And I also like used again light language. I was like repeating 3 words that like grabbed that specific influence, and like I grabbed it and like I twisted it in the distance. And when I did that, like all of it disappeared. Like I guess it was not expecting to be found and strangled a bit, and like all the horses and like everything disappeared, and like that big storm that was like brewing in the distance, like everything just went away. Like this was one of them, and then other night I was still again in some place I recognized, and from the distance, this like very strange mist was like engulfing everything. Like, have you seen the Stephen King movie, The Mist?
Yes.
Like something
It's
like
been
that. Like,
years.
yeah, I think I seen it like 20 years ago or so.
Yeah.
So there was this like very strange like hazy mist thing like getting over everything, and I was near like a house that I don't recognize, and from the inside, just like rainbowy tinted haze was like just like going from everywhere, like the windows and doors and all that. And I
Mhm.
like went in, and it was like this very strange place. It was almost like a mirror hole or something similar. That was like very dark and creepy. And I was like going forward, like floating forward, like these dark skeleton like dead people things started to appear from all directions,
Oh,
and I was like
wonderful.
moving yeah. And as I was moving forward, like one came towards me, and I grabbed its head and I was like pushing it forward towards the end of the house. I was doing that. I was like summoning the eternal fire from inside of myself, and I was like
Mm.
channeling it through my hands inside that being's, I guess, like astral body or something, the fire. And I was doing that, like everything just like started to like light up, and like they dissolved, and the entire house like just like lit up, and all that scary stuff went away from it, and I woke up. So I guess like
Wow.
a lot of transformation and purging is happening. So
Hmm.
When did this happen? Was it this week?
yeah, like during the full moon, like I think the first 2 days. I think one of us was on Sunday and the other on Monday evening, maybe. So it was just
Uh,
like 2 days ago or so.
Hmm.
But
I
they
don't
were
know
like
if
super vivid. Like I wasn't even, I think when I had that like skeleton thingy happening, like I couldn't sleep. Like I woke up during the night and I couldn't go back to sleep. So I just kind of, I was like in this half awake. I thought I'm awake, but I was not. So like this like in between weird zone. I just like
Yeah.
started to like transition into that strange astral experience.
wow.
So any thoughts or
Yeah, well,
things
there's a
on what
couple
I've
of things.
experienced?
Well, first of all, something happened on Friday, started on Thursday, and it finished on Friday. Finished. There's no finishing in anything that we're doing. We know that, right?
Right.
Like, but we've been in this like energy of pulling away from something for a while, right? And then
Hmm.
it got really intense on Thursday. And at the other side of that, like meaning uh, just pulling all night long, all early evening and everything, it was really a weird, unpleasant. It ended up being, if now you can look back and see, it was like it was birth. It would felt like a birthing process. And then at 111 on Friday, I was out in the garden just sitting and able to observe what was happening. And there was
Hmm.
this pop that happened. And they showed me visually right before the pop. It was like we'd been pulling from, like what we were stuck to was like gum or something. Like we're like, we finally released. But what had happened was the gelatinous reality thing was being pulled with us because we were pulling away from it, and it was making this kind of a weird shape. And as soon as we popped off of it, they said, "Here come the ripple," just as it happened. It went, and then reality did this weird thing, and all
Hmm.
of this foreign matter that's like floating around in jello basically is what it looked like. These densities all started to surface, and this ripple that was caused as a result of that was going to be the next little bit we're going to be working through some really dense stuff. And immediately I started having those same kind of experiences. I actually had a dream right after that, and it was lined up around the same time. This is the it was there's We're ending a lot of alternate me's, alternate yous, right? And
Hmm.
we in those places we actually I found anyway, I'm noticing I'm actually passing away in these other places. And
Okay.
some of them are really bizarre. Like I was eaten by a giant on one of them, and I knew at the moment I was like, okay, well and we don't have to feel it. But it's weird. I don't have those kind of dreams, and it didn't feel like a psychic attack or anything like that.
No,
So
it's a subconscious representation of what's going on, is what the Arcturians are saying. And also what you're describing is through me, the Arcturians call, because it's going to be different through different people, because
yeah.
these are just words, in the English language. But this is what they're calling the quantum flux with me all the time. It's just basically we've been in a flux state for a while now. And there was a message that came through a little over a year ago, that we were in a quantum flux. And it was received kind of in a weird way, because it was during a time where there was also a great feeling of bifurcation, like very defined sort of bifurcation, where two different realities were being experienced. But see, the two are not mutually exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
We can be in this bifurcation where we are energetically producing not only two different experiences, by the way, but very different experiences, but also still be in a quantum flux. Quantum just means the smallest means by which reality can be or is created. Basically, that's all that means. It's the smallest element of the creative force of what we call reality. There's 55 million different ways, right, that we can reorganize words to paint a proper picture of what's going on. So that's so interesting. And the mist puts me in the mind. And somebody over here, it's gone now, but I think maybe Rose Matter, it might be Joshua, said, "What a badass dream," by the way.
Oh, where'd it go? I had it up a second ago.
I have
Rose
a
Matter.
lot of them. I have a lot of them. So I think when I explain to some people, they think they're like horror stories.
It would have been a great, it would have been a great theme for a movie, what you're describing, of course.
Probably, yeah. But, yeah. But this is very tame. Like I had much crazier experiences.
Oh my
Like
God.
I remember, like I think it was Jenny. Like I think like years ago, like I shared some of my ET experiences, like waking up during the night and like weird stuff happen and all that. And she was like, after we talked like an hour, and she was like I'm so calm and like casual when I say these things, but just hearing it made her like freak out completely.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I was very desensitized in the beginning, so I'm okay now.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I noticed that too. Like we're like we've learned, because we get to talk to each other. We get to have these conversations that we've learned we don't have to give a backstory, and then you're talking to somebody where you ought to do like a maybe not a disclaimer, but you're like leading up to the giving some kind of foundation to it. It's just we don't do that anymore, and you're like it can throw people off, which is actually why I only told part of the dream that I had, because I didn't want to freak anyone out, but it wasn't bad. And with your dream guardian, something else, I don't know if you noticed, you must have, is the theme of blue was so prevalent, and it took light language to that throat chakra activation stuff. The mist, I also see water and voice and music, they all feel the same, and like the fact that you had that mist, it was like air and water, and that is speech, because you need the air there too. But what I thought was really fascinating on top of that, though, is that I was wondering if you remembered the three words that were needed to be spoken in order to, the three light language words. Do you remember what they sounded like?
No, not really. But I do use, like I know like majority of people like use light language to like do healing or activation or whatever. But intuitively, even during my astral experiences, like I use light language, like almost like casting spells. It's like I have an intent and I say the words. Like I don't know what I'm going to say, maybe it's like 3 words, or it's almost like chanting something, and like it makes stuff happen. So I like I think I talked about this like a year or two ago. I think it was like 2 years ago. Like I woke up in the middle of the night, and I had this. I'm not sure if I was awake. So this again is a very strange state of like it feels like you're awake, but then you realize that you were not awake when you wake up from that
Yeah.
experience. It's like very limbo state. And I wake up, or at least that's where I thought, and I sit up in the bed, and there was this huge chaotic energy just like swirling around me, like different malevolent beings and all that. Just like this chaotic energy was just around me and all that. I was like completely calm, and I was like, I put out my hand like this, and I started to like say something in light language, and all that like chaos just like got like sucked into this like little sphere at the point of my fingers. And when I like calmed all of that down, it just just disappeared. I tamed the
Wow.
chaotic energies with some light language. So,
This is
and after I
amazing.
did that, I wake up. So I thought I was awake, but I was not. So it's very
Yeah.
strange.
You weren't awake in this physical, tangible reality, but you
Yeah, I
were.
was not awake. But while I was doing it, I thought I was like sitting up in my bed. And after that, I opened my eyes while I was laying in bed. So it's very weird. Like a lot of times it happens. So I'm kind of used to it. But
Yeah.
still, it's very strange. When you
Yeah.
wake up from a dream that you thought you were awake, then you find out you were sleeping all the time. So,
So
Wow.
true. There's a couple of things, Pamela. I don't know if you wanted to say something, but as usual, as per usual, I have picked up a few comments from the
Please.
comments section.
I
And
got
they
one
were
highlighted
amazing.
too.
Yep, you picked Sherry Henson Kitchen. Yes, with the steam and the water. And also, someone had a comment because I definitely wanted to address Sherry Henson Kitchen. Hi, Sherry. Hang on a second. And somebody had a comment, you guys, about getting a diagnosis of bacteria in the blood. And that relates to something I wanted to talk about. And before I even say anything else, I think I did forget to say, and happy anniversary as well, Pamela. I meant to say that.
happy anniversary.
Somebody in the comments said, happy anniversary. Yes. It's crazy that it doesn't feel at all like 6 years. I agree with you, Guardian. It feels like the blink of an eye, really. It's kind of
Yeah.
surreal. I feel like I just met you yesterday, but we already knew each other, which we already did. So all of that's a little wonky anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, tangent over. But yeah, there's a comment about
I'm looking for it.
bacteria
I
being
can't
found in
find it.
somebody's blood.
I
Just
don't remember even reading it, so I'm not sure.
well, while you're looking, I'm just gonna say
Oh,
that
no,
there
there
was.
it is. I did read
Did
it.
you
Here it
find
is.
it?
Yeah, it was
Ah,
just
there it
right
is.
above it.
Barb in West Florida. Hey, Barb. All right, so the night of the eclipse, I was around family that I usually don't see. And then this looks like she wanted to say there was a doctor telling her she had a lot of bad bacteria in the blood.
Mhm.
And I want to just go ahead and say, if it's okay, Pamela and Guardian, for somewhat related reasons, like adjacent related, if you will, regardless of what she means, what you mean, Barb, by this comment exactly, what came through, and this applies to all of you as well. What comes through is always for a reason. It's with good
Yeah.
reason, okay? But instantly, what I was reminded of is the swelling that's been happening. So, this is going to apply to a lot of us physically, like what we physically have been feeling in our bodies. And then now there's a contraction happening. Pamela mentioned earlier about coming back around to what feels like a birth.
Mhm.
Last time we spoke together a couple weeks ago, we talked about it's like there are contractions happening with this cyclical thing that's happening with each cycle. It's
Yeah.
like the contraction gets closer and closer, right? So that's one type of contraction, right? But it's the same. It is something that's going to push something forward. It's a squeezing off. in a way to shoot something forward. Okay, that was very graphic. Sorry, guys. But this is what's happening. So there was a swelling that was happening just leading up to this full moon. I don't know about specifics with each individual person or how long the swelling was happening this time around, but you may have felt it in your body big time. So some of you, if you're prone to inflammation, there was another soul family that mentioned in her own, like it's a separate YouTube video. Her name isn't coming to me, but if it does, I'll let you guys know. But anyway, a lot of things being diagnosed like gout. It's going to be similar to what a gout diagnosis would be like, maybe something with arthritis. It could be if you suffer from like lymphedema, I don't want to call these things out. So clear all that. These are just diagnoses that label something that really probably means something else anyway, right? But the point is, now it's like there is a restriction happening again where the contraction is going in the other direction. And so I was getting shown like these sieves where it was an open channel before, okay, where what was happening in the quantum flux, what we talked about a second ago, this creation of reality, which we're all participating in right now, to get this. We're kind of converging, what you could think of as converging timelines, really, again. Okay, we do this all of the time, by the way, because we're always experiencing. And that's why both are true. There is a bifurcation happening, but we're also still creating, even within that bifurcation, okay? I know it seems confusing, but just like let it live in your body for a minute. It'll make sense. So they were showing me these like what looked like little fluid sieves, okay, like little canals everywhere. And it's like little bits of quantum flux realities, okay? This is a representation. It's how the human brain works. We know that. This is what the Arcturians were showing me. So while that was happening, our bodies, especially the lymph, but all the fluids really in our bodies are reacting to this because they're processing through trauma, distortion, all of the physically adjacent elements of like basically what physically relates to the quantum creativity. That seemed like it was a lot of words, but you know what I'm saying? The physical representation of the quantum elements of creation in our body, we're feeling it, okay? So now there's like a restriction happening. So a lot of you are going to start flushing that water. You're going, you might have to hydrate your skin more. You might have to drink more water again. You might start to sleep more again. So, yeah. And the bacteria in the blood even is going to be, if that's what it is even, right? That's also going to be a representation of something. Sorry, Pam. That's all I wanted to get to was circle back around to the blood. But I hope that made some sort of sense.
Completely. In fact, by the way, where do you get the word Bifrost from? What did you say? Bifrostification?
Oh,
what was
bifurcation. So that's
because that comes from Yggdrasil's tree.
Oh, okay. Come say that one more time.
This is an ancient belief system, or I could pull up an image of it. The 9 realms, like you have like Midgard or where we are basically.
Okay.
We're in like where Midgardians, well, where we came from, and we're more like in Elfheim right now. And then if you go up farther and farther, then you get up to, why can't I think of it right now? Asgard. There we go.
Okay.
And the rainbow bridge that brings people from Asgard is like heaven.
Yeah.
Odin's tree, Yggdrasil's Odin's tree. It's the tree of life and the realms of the 9. And the rainbow bridge is called the Bifrost. And so when you were talking, I just kept seeing the rainbow stuff. I mean, there was a deeper meaning behind. Isn't that fun when you get channel state going?
It's great.
Like 9 people, 9 audiences. I mean,
and just to clear it up, in terms of so everybody knows what I meant by that. and what the Arcturians might mean, and you'll hear it a lot with other channels and people. Just the bifurcation just means the two worlds literally separating, like peeling off from each other. So it's two different sets of frequencies, people who are going to continue to experience more of what we thought of as a third dimensional reality, right? So much
Yeah.
more dense. They're going to more emotionally suffer and participate from a heavier standpoint in the chaos. I'm trying to think of a loving way to say this, by the way, if you're wondering why I'm sort of hesitating. It's not going to sound very loving, but it's okay to have compassion for everybody's experience because it's all for a reason. So personally, so I'll give you an example. And whenever I've asked this question, I've gotten pretty much the same answer, even from the beginning, Pamela. Like, how do we have to completely separate ourselves from people who are having that experience and all these other things? Not to get off on another tangent, but honestly, whatever their experience is actually still necessary to whatever's being created. So it's a really weird way to think of it, especially if you've suffered from some of these other people who refuse to, it seems like they refuse to wake up. They really can't. They're not
Right.
supposed to, most of them, okay? But, we're still moving through all of that healing of trauma, believe it or not. So anyway, so yeah, so bifurcation is just bi meaning two, making what was one come out into two different states. So then there's a higher frequency version of that, which is where all of you
Yeah.
guys are, and I'm with you, in this higher frequency. I use the word spectrum. I'm sure somebody has a better word,
I love
collection of
that.
frequencies. Okay.
I know exactly what you're talking. I just never had a word for it.
Yeah,
And
yeah. No.
the fact that it so closely relates to the means of travel between the realms of Odin's
Mhm.
tree, of Yggdrasil, I find that to be super fascinating. It's just like, wow,
Yeah.
it's another Odin reference. That's pretty cool.
That's very cool.
I don't mean to like go so far off topic. Okay, Guardian, do you have anything to add to that before I go off topic?
Nope.
There's a lot of questions or things about diamonds in the comments, and I do have a different background, and so I probably should explain
Yeah,
that.
like please show it to us and give us an
Yes.
explanation.
So the soul vibration is actually a retreat that I'm doing here in Arkansas for anybody that wants to come in June. It's a party, but it's a retreat, and it's going to be June 19th, 20th, and 21st. Um, and if I haven't done it yet, I will right after we're done here. I'll put in the description of the video how to sign up if you want to come. There's a lot of different like payment options and stuff, but we put it down as super low. Most retreats like this are like around $1,000 to $2,000. We're gonna
Mhm.
go. We're all of this is in the package. You get to go diamond mining, which we have the only place in this country that you can get diamonds out of a mine. There's we're gonna go get crystals out of the crystal mine where you get the big ones from, like these kind. We're gonna do like drum circles and meditations and yoga every day. It's gonna be really good and awesome for $555 for the 3 days. So I'm just anyway, anyone who wants to come, we're only selling like 30, 35 tickets. So in order to keep it intimate. So if anyone is interested, please let me know. I look forward to seeing you there. And I just that's my little plug because it's something we're doing and I'm so excited about it. It's going to be a lot of fun. So thank you. Oops. I meant to just post part of this. I don't know if this whole link works, but just in case anybody wants to know how to find that information, there it is. So
It's
um
going to be a lot of fun.
it is. I'm
Mhm.
super excited about it. It's going to be like we have mineral baths, like hot tubs and stuff out here, hot springs, I mean. And there's like, so we're gonna do a mud bath only, and Maddie and I are probably gonna have a mud fight instead. It'll be really fun. If you guys want to join the mud fight part, that'll be fun. And then like this, there's like 148 caves just in our like drivable area here. Like there's a lot of really
Crazy.
profound things in this part of the country. So it's gonna be cool to be here. Um, there was a question before. Do you mind if I go back to something? This was a while ago, but I wanted to, it's for Guardian. Um,
Okay.
Fenya wants to know um, if there's if you're going to do a violet flame meditation sometime.
Ooh.
No, I
Ah,
don't think so. Yeah, like I already did quite a few, so you can always revisit.
Yeah,
But yeah,
so
like
I
we
want,
could do a channeling session if you want, like in March too, whenever you have time to host it.
okay. Yeah, I'll have to look at my calendar. That would be awesome. What are those like when we do a channeling session? Maybe you can describe it for the audience, is what I mean.
Oh yeah, yeah. In general, like all of us have our spirit guides. Like I'm in direct communication with my higher aspects from Sirius, and I do communicate with them. But in order to allow that communication to happen with other people too, like I can go into a deeper trance state and basically merge my consciousness with my higher aspects from Sirius and let them speak through me. Although we kind of do it together, I act as a translator for them because like they don't know our culture nor language. So I'm the vocabulary to planet Earth for them. And yeah, like you can ask questions, the more interesting questions and detailed things that you share and ask, the more fascinating answers they can give you. So it's an interesting experience to like hear the perspective of someone who is not from around here and has a much more higher perspective on things than we do. So
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's really fun too. Like, so what I'll do is I'll host it. So I'm like the, I don't know, mediator or something like that. What I do is I kind of keep, because I'm awake, I'm not in trance. I keep track of who's in line, and I interact in the comments all throughout and let people know who's next. Um, and often, I would say pretty much it happens of just about every time where the audience fills up and everybody comes. It's like a Zoom meeting. It's not live on YouTube or anything. Um, though there's enough people present that just kind of want to observe, that sometimes people get to ask several questions, like because people just kind of want to hang out and be part of it. So it's really cool, and it doesn't cost anything. It's free. So um, just kind of, if that's something that you guys want to do, it's really cool. I find that I feel like I'm talking because I'm used to like these real emoting kind of energies, like, and then these Syrian guides come in, and all I keep thinking to myself is don't tell them to live long and prosper, because they feel like Spock. I love it though. It's just wow, they're so balanced and mature emotionally that they feel like they don't really have
they're
much
very
emotion at
old
all.
compared to us. So they're very, very old.
Yeah.
When you get to that age, then you get like that.
Aliens are not from around here. It's so funny.
I mean, they're not aliens. Like they're somewhat similar to us, but yeah, they're not from around here.
Yeah. And it's really cool, that I have both of you on, because both of you do so, like, and it's just like the yin and the yang, the push and the pull, because you have the Arcturians, who are, from how I interpret them, and then I'll let you, Yolanda, jump in, because this is just me telling you guys what I think, and then you get, is that, so we got these Syrian guys that come in that are like real, like logical, and then you got the Arcturians, and they're like, I'm so proud of you, but I just messed up. I'm just so proud of you. That's okay. You're amazing. And like the difference is so noticeable. But I love both groups. What is it like for you, Yolanda?
The accuracy, okay, you are definitely on point. The Arcturians are quite excitable, but not obviously not physically.
Mhm.
Even if they were to come sit next to me, and make themselves dense enough, which they can with their technology, for me to be able to see them. You guys
Yeah.
will probably not to, well, it won't scare anybody in this crowd, but contact is already happening, and it's going to keep, getting broader and broader and broader. Okay, so set your intention. We'll circle back around to that. But yeah, so they can do that. But even if they were to do that, they wouldn't be as excitable as me. But what I notice, and what a lot of other people notice, and you guys might notice if you do this, you will see a difference in the way the beings sort of like act upon your body or act upon your consciousness. Like, I am very giddy because of their interaction with me. So yeah, you are definitely correct about that. They're both of their focus though. The Syrians are very focused, and they're telling me. So there's a broad array of beings, from Sirius. The, you know, so it's not just one type of being, but the type of beings that Guardian is channeling. Not to speak for you, because correct me if I'm wrong, or if I should say this in a different way. These types of beings are what we're generally used to coming through to communicate and help us, okay?
Mhm.
And they are also healers. They're also, so they're both, they have a lot in common. Like, I feel like Guardian and I, the way that we channel it, it's more like a complementary thing. Like, it's very
Yeah.
balanced. The Arcturians are very balanced. They just sort of, they get giddy through me. They
Mhm.
are excitable though.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
makes sense. But
That's how I interpret it too. It's really fun. And it's
yeah.
like you said, it's complimentary. It's very balanced and fun. And the fact that, so we could ask some questions about this too, because I know that a lot of people, this is through my observation just over the past few weeks, really, is that there's been more and more people than ever before that are coming forward and talking about, and sometimes emailing, sometimes they're coming to the groups and are concerned and noticing they're getting a lot of like information that they're not really sure how to interpret it. And some people,
Mhm.
I still know a handful of people that still work in like hospitals and stuff, and many of them are telling me that most of these psychiatric units are overflowing with, like, they're having to send people out of state because people are getting messages. They're
Yeah.
realizing that the self thoughts are thoughts coming from someplace else, and they're
Mhm.
channels, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Um,
the veil is thinning. So
Yes.
right. So what would
What they're
be
missing is the medicine man. It's the oldest, they're only missing the intermediary between spirit and earth, heaven and earth, to help guide them into this process and ground them. They can't ground themselves,
yeah.
and the belief system has a lot to do with it. So if you have a belief system that says that's either evil, as in that word demonic gets thrown around a lot in religious circles as well. It certainly did when I was growing up, for sure, and it definitely still does. I'm not saying all religion is wrong, you guys, but I'm saying within that structure, okay? And so that sends people, including, I have an ancestor, all right, recent, and I won't get into all that here, but yeah, she had to put herself into a mental institution to kind of try to get herself right so she wouldn't be ostracized in the community. And unfortunately, today, this is still, which is mind blowing, okay, but that's still happening today. But yeah, so I'm not surprised that they're overflowing, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah. And what would be the
Channels
suggestion
are
there?
open.
What would be the suggestion there? So, like, Guardian, do you have any input that, like, if someone just started to get information, knowledge, they're channeling or they're seeing things, like, what would be the first thing that you could help guide them to find a better balance and be more regulated by their experience?
yeah, like try to ground yourself as much as you can in your physical reality, in your body. Go out to nature, like cleanse yourself, like mentally, physically, emotionally.
Mhm.
Practice mental hygiene too. Like, what are you exposing yourself to? And like, I think above all, like research, like psychic protection or energetic protection, so you can like filter out a lot of stuff that you're getting. Because like when you're opening up the first time, then you're opening up to everything, and you're getting good stuff and also unpleasant information and energies inside your system, and you don't want that.
Mhm.
So doing psychic protection, energetic protection is like really good for filtering the nasty stuff out of your system. So that's very important. And be careful what you're exposing yourself to. Like if I know, like there are people or information that like brings you down or puts you in a fearful state, and try to like avoid things that help you like go down this like dark spiral of like fear and stress and anxiety, because like that's really amplified when you're in this like very heightened and sensitive and open state that you're in right now. So be very mindful of that too. So try to expose yourself to things that uplift you, that empower you, and yeah, like very be very mindful of what you put your energy into and
Yeah.
what you're focusing on.
Yeah.
What would you
I
say,
with
Will?
that, can I chime in too a little
That's
bit?
what I was going to ask. Go
Yeah.
ahead, please.
Oh, sorry.
I was
Yeah,
introducing you. Go ahead.
I wanted to spit it out before it left, but yeah, that I didn't even think of some of the stuff that Guardian said as well. And then when Guardian was speaking, they were saying, "Oh, say this." Also, because different beings, once you're open, can contact you, start to assert your authority in the matter. So make a decision about one voice, and you can give permission or not give permission. So you can say, and definitely should say, I don't give you permission to speak to or through me right now, and put up an energetic shield. And what that means is you literally just visualize a wall between you and that's just one way to do it, and that being. Or you can just say, I set an intention to be shielded from that being, and so it is, and it will be so. And so that's going to eliminate the multiple voices, which is typically the reason that people get to the point where they want to check themselves in somewhere, because they assume, it's something that we've heard of, a diagnosis that's familiar to us. So what's the word I'm looking for? Schizophrenia. You might assume that it's something close to schizophrenia or some other multiple personality disorder, when it's actually an external being. Now, those of you here in the chat obviously would not fall under that category necessarily, but someone who is in proximity may need to hear that, and you guys might need to know that in case someone around you is having these experiences as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, like very cool. Like I did some notes before, and the third one is rise of personal power. And
Ooh.
exactly what you said, of like exerting your free will on like what you're willing to receive and what you don't want to receive.
Mhm. That's
So,
right.
yep.
Do you
Yeah.
take notes in Hungarian or in
No,
English?
it's in English. Like even when I do stuff for
That's such a
my,
good question.
like when I do stuff for myself, or when I do my to-do list, or when I do like management stuff, I do everything in English. So it's so strange. So,
That's fascinating.
I'm just used to doing that stuff in English.
So
Also,
good.
When
my calendar and everything in my calendar is in English.
So
fascinating.
funny.
I remember asking my grandma because my grandma, she didn't like English. She came from Sweden when she was 11, and then because she was left-handed, she wasn't allowed to go to school. So she didn't
Oh,
have a lot of social exposure, and her
Isn't
language
that
is
something?
yeah, yeah. And
Oh,
it's funny too, they actually came here to escape persecution because she and her sisters were witches, or they were
mm,
calling them witches. And then
right.
her sister did go to school, and she spent like 50 years in a state a mental asylum before she died in there, you know? speaking of, mental illness,
Mhm.
what my grandmother could do was magic. And so what was really fascinating is that she would think in Swedish, but she would speak in English,
That's so
even
funny.
though, she didn't like English. She had a really thick accent, and I always wondered, I mean, what do you think in? Do you think in Hungarian garden, or does it depend on who you're
Or
talking to?
both.
Yeah, I think it's
Really?
usually in Hungarian, but if I'm thinking of something that will be, by the way, I shifted my microphones because it's like
Yeah,
just
okay. I'll turn
telling
you up.
us it's dying on me. Yeah, I usually think in Hungarian, but if I'm thinking of maybe, I don't know, like communicating with someone, or if I have to do something later with someone who is not Hungarian, then usually I think in English. So, and
Fascinating.
I found it much more easier this way because, especially when I have to like write something for someone else or do a presentation or something, I just bring everything up in English. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I don't translate stuff.
Because this is something that's really, I'm just comparing you to, and not in a bad way. You're both clear channels, and the way that you channel, I know what it looks like. The energy looks like different kinds of rainbow when you guys are channeling. That's just how it works. And it swirls around you differently. It kind of reminds me of those cartoons of Merlin where he's like making
Yeah.
the energy flow around. And
Yeah.
the way it integrates, it's two languages. And so sometimes five, it just depends on the situation. And then the language isn't actually language at all. It's becoming language so it can come through you. And
Mhm.
so it's just something that you just see happen. And I do think that I do notice more blues with the Syrians, and with the Arcturians, there's a lot of gold and white and pink. It's just really fascinating, the difference.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
With me,
Oh,
the
someone,
Arcturians are pretty
someone
frosty. They're like a frosty blue with me too, but I didn't mean to interrupt. I was just on the color, following the color train there.
I see words in color. I think that's part of it too. Like they show me, like, David's always blue. That name is blue. It's just
Okay.
sky blue. You know. Anyway, um, there's and you guys said some really important things. Like what you're taking in, what your so because we talk about what we're consume, water, food. We forget media. We forget that we're consuming media too, and that's the hygiene that both of you mentioned.
Mhm.
Being in a spiritually hygienic state is allowing yourself to, you know, expose your. What I do to wiggle off anything that's unpleasant is doing a silly dance on purpose, trying to look silly, dancing and enjoying myself, just because you can't not laugh at yourself and be in a playful state, and that shifts the energy,
I
that
love it.
shifts your experience, right? And then, you know this is also a really important point, and I just wanted to reiterate it, is that declaring your own sovereignty and your own power, you decide. You get to decide who you interact with. And
Mhm.
just the thing that I learned along the way is that if an energy is not of love and not coming to me for the highest joy and highest good of myself and those in my vicinity, then when I send love to them, they run away. And if they are of love, they'll send a whole bunch back to me,
Mhm.
and like that makes it a lot easier, instead of having to do the guessing game. And
Mhm.
one more point I would like to make is that in 2020, there was a phenomenon. This is right before they kicked me off Facebook that time. Um, that time. uh, is that there was this awareness that went out into the population. People didn't know that there were two different experiences. Some people hear their own voice in their mind throughout their days. It's a
Mhm.
regular thing. And some people don't. And there was this big conversation of like, oh my gosh, what would it be like to have no narration in your day? And then the other group were like, you think that's weird? It's never quiet in your brain? How is that? anyway, I took that with me throughout these different shows and groups we've done over the years. And I find it to be really fascinating that most people who are empaths or clear channels will
Mhm.
have had the experience of hearing their own voice their whole life. And it's not like telling you to do something or whatever. Sometimes it's like a gentle guidance of wisdom.
Mhm.
But, and then not to say that that's a requirement for awakening, but it seems to be almost an expectation. It's so common. Isn't that
So
fascinating?
interesting. I
So that
I
shows
had
me
never
they're
heard
always
that.
channeling. Go ahead.
I had never heard that. I was just going to say, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry. Yeah, I had never heard that. And that is one of the most interesting things that I'm hearing.
Yeah.
It's not often that I hear something new these days. And I'm not bragging. I mean, I'm 48. So it's not like I've been here only a second on Earth at this point. But yeah, that is the first I'm hearing of that.
Isn't that
Oh,
fascinating?
it's very interesting. Yeah, what I was thinking of is like communication with your guides, and like people are who are starting to channel or want to come in contact with their higher aspects, with guardian angels and so forth. And
Mhm.
like you only hear like your own mind chatter, or like the information that you're getting is in your own mind's voice. But yeah,
Mhm.
like that's how they communicate with you most of the time. Especially that's how it begins. It's like
How it begins.
uh, your own thoughts are like reflecting or like bringing you a new perspective that you wouldn't have had otherwise, basically,
Right.
because like they don't want to intrude upon you. So that's how you're getting your info. And later on, it can like evolve in other stuff too. Like rarely I had like literally like someone else's voice in my head. That's like very strange. I know like that may sound alarming to people. But yeah, like especially people that I knew and have passed away, and I did have very clear communication with them, and I could like literally like hear them speak inside my head. So it was very clear and interesting to say the least. But yeah, that can happen. But if you don't know what's happening and like why is it happening, that it can be very scary, I guess.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's so cool. The part of that that I didn't know, and this is so naive, I feel it feels naive, was that people didn't. Like, I thought everybody experienced their voice at some point in there. I don't know if that was your experience too, Pamela and Guardian.
Yeah.
Like, that's the part that was missing for me, is that there are people that don't, which is fine,
Yeah.
but it's trippy.
Yeah, like it's a
Yeah.
very crazy stuff to me too. Like I just learned, I think like a few years ago, like you know, like when you're reading something, and I mean not everyone, but I always like visualize what I'm reading. I see it like a movie. And I
Yeah,
heard
me too.
from a few people that they're like completely blank. They're just like reading text and they don't see anything. I was like, how is that even possible?
Wow.
Like that's the whole point of a book is that you're
Your experience,
reading,
the
you're
story, or
following characters written on the carcass of a tree and having hallucinations. Like that's why you read.
Ah, I concur. I did want to
Yeah.
point out, guys, I saw a cool comment again
Mm. Tell me, I'll go find
about
it.
someone. Okay, someone has an insect like being as a guide, which is common, not uncommon. They're obviously able to see in their mind's eye, so we love that, right? And I had a little bit of information, and I mean very little bit of information, not much, come in about that guide that actually could be kind of informative for us. But while you're looking for it, I'll just like like go into it, right?
Please.
This person, whoever this is, if you're listening, whoever left that comment, this insect like
There
being
it is.
who
Maya.
is a guide of yours is actually, oh, there it is. Okay, this guide, this is so cool, and some of you might know what I'm might already understand what I'm about to say, and many of you might not actually know this. But this is an example. So I got that this insect-like being is actually also an ancestor. Now that's going to sound, it might sound kind of weird, okay? But remember, you've lived, each of us, okay? You've lived many perspectives. That's the word we're going to use, all right? You've had many incarnations, different places. And someone said mantis. It could be, he or she could be mantis. It doesn't have to be. Now, remember, we only know, or what's been exposed on Earth so far in, let's say, lightworker ET community is a limited amount of labels for extraterrestrials. Okay, so we have labeled some of them. All right, we know what some of them are, but there are actually more insect-like humanoid type beings. And I'm saying humanoid insect-like because they're going to have a lot of them, you know, four appendages. So 2 arms, 2 legs. They might have an extra set of arms. They might not. They'll have antennas. Their skin may be different. It may not be. There are different varieties here. They're not necessarily all mantis beings. And mantis, a lot of them, people think they're negative. There are a lot of positive, very, very positive mantis beings as well. And that's also for the same reason. The same way humans have spread across and are not even only inhabiting Earth, if you guys don't know, a lot of beings. So if they originated, for instance, you know, with the Sirius constellation, they have spread out. Like they, you know, there are a limited number of beings who just kept to themselves. So Arcturians, interestingly enough, not that they've kept only to themselves. I don't know why we're getting off into this, guys, sorry. But because of the way that they've evolved, they are kind of, they're telling me to be careful here. But yeah, they are amongst themselves a little bit more. Like they haven't necessarily spread out and blended so much, but now I'm getting different information on that. We only know so much. That's the basis of it. For everything you think you know, just understand there are going to be some derivatives of that because of the infinite amount of realities, okay, that exist that we are also still creating. Okay, so we're not definitely not getting into all that. But so there are a lot of insectoid type of beings that are going to start appearing more too, because we're becoming more educated about the word reptilian, insect, mantis, negative, positive, what these things mean. And there's a lot of healing going on in terms of extraplanetary life at the same time as what's happening on Earth, you guys. Ooh, so we should get into that too, because what we're doing here, you can set an intention to actually help move that forward as well. There's a lot of healing going on, but we're not supposed to get into that today. But yeah, so that insect-like being is actually also an ancestor. So that means when your ancestor was here on Earth, ooh, that's cool. When that lifetime on Earth expired, one of their perspectives became this being. Also, they come from that line of beings as well. So you have a very close relation yourself to those beings. And you too have a parallel life as that being. And so hence this sort of being appearing to you as a main guide. All right, so they're showing me while I'm talking. This isn't them coming through me, they're showing me visually these lives, okay? Yeah. In a manner of speaking. Okay, so anyway, I hope that helps sort of like inform people of when they have these visions and when they, you know, they learn about different extraterrestrial species, because that is going to become very important sooner than we think in terms of disclosure and contact.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I would say that there's quite a few different insect-like beings that are, I remember being one of them. I was a big giant ant, basically. And there was something about, anyway, we were on a different world, though. We weren't here. This is something that I know there's a lot of distortion out there about, and you know, like horror movies and stuff help that narrative along of, you know, when this is what spirit tells me, is that there are more asshole humans than there are asshole ETs. I
Well,
know that was very blunt, but
and even that's mostly due to manipulation, and because we weren't allowed, quote unquote, right, to really evolve at the rate we could have. Humans
yeah.
also are not inherently, inherently assholes. We can be asshole-ish. No, just
Right.
kidding.
Right. But they were trying to help me see something that, because there's so much of this, how many of the bad guys are you got to protect yourself from? Yeah, you definitely
Yeah.
need to. It's very strongly encouraged that you embrace the sovereignty that you are. This is your space and you choose the creation, the dominion over your own creation. That's your declaration of empowerment. And knowing though, sometimes these guys look different. They're more than not are humanoid in form. However, most of them are either indifferent to you or here to help you. Indifference
Hmm.
doesn't mean bad. It just means, you know,
Neutral.
No, they
yeah,
just observe.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly. There's a lot of people talking about having insect like being interactions and different like and then of course Elsa's going crazy in the audience with the ants. Yes, we got to talk about ants now. Yippee. um
Oh.
there are so much code regarding this because when I put up that image is some beings that come and they were doing this weird thing, and I thought they were trying to make themselves look shorter to be less intimidating to me because quite honestly it was intimidating. I i heard i heard them speaking to each other, but they weren't speaking. Like it was a telepathy thing, and
Okay.
they were using swear words, which is really funny.
Oh,
But
that's me.
what they were saying was, um, I'm gonna just say it. I'm just gonna say it. They said, "Fuck, bitch can see us," and then someone said, "She can hear us," and like I heard that, and I was like, and then they
Wow.
started making themselves shorter and like bending their arms weird. So I thought what they were doing was to show me to be less intimidated by them, and
Hmm.
then I drew what I was supposed to, those images, and then later on it turns out those are our chakra opening yoga poses that they were doing.
Oh,
They were teaching me
wow.
something.
Oh my gosh, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah. They were funny. They weren't scary at all. They after I heard them, fuck, bitch can see us. I was like,
Oh my goodness, that's amazing.
yeah. Everybody, I think that we probably all have some type of experiences that are a little bit different like that. God was wondering if Guardian have you ever had like, I mean, how many, I know we have had a lot of different experiences, but was there one that you were maybe initially afraid of or felt jarred by and then found out that they were lovely?
I have a lot of scary experiences. I
Yeah.
even got PTSD from them, so yeah.
Mhm.
It
Some
was
of them
not,
can be
not,
like that.
especially when I was not aware what was happening, it was like super scary. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know what? One of the scariest guardian to piggyback on that, because yeah, some of these things can be traumatic. I was just before I even go there, I wanted to address the lightheartedness of the audience though, because Jana Kozar has been like laughing. I think
Yeah.
when we humans assholes, which hey, listen, I think that's fair. And then yeah, some other things happening because I can feel it's going to get heavy because it needs to for a minute too. And somebody said, "Yay, alien yoga class," and I think that was Elsa.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, we need those moments because, like Guardian, I agree with you. The thing that, and oh my goodness, how many people can relate to this that are healers, or even if you, when you were like maybe training for healing in some way, or I don't know, but I'm just going to tell you about a really interesting experience if you have time. Do you guys have time for one, or do we have?
I I do. Guardian's gonna probably be ready to tap out sooner than me. So, but he'll tell us when
Okay.
he's done.
Okay. It's sort of quick, but it's going to be it's this sort of experience is like mixed with different things. So I was saying if you're a healer, but then I remembered, well, this also has to do with the clairvoyance. Okay. Because when I first started, I had already mastered Reiki, okay, which isn't, a lot of people have, this was surely 6 years ago. It was right at the beginning, right when I was beginning my YouTube channel. Completely freaked out, like terrified basically back then of sharing anything. Okay. And I was having all of these experiences. So a lot of you, I'm saying this because a lot of you are going to relate to this. I'm getting it. I can feel it from you guys. And a lot of you are having some of these newish experiences, even if you've been at this a while, and you're going to have more. Okay. So anyway, this was back then. So I wasn't sharing every tidbit of every experience because I still was hyper aware. And this is another thing, with you guys to listen to, because we're coming into, you're already authentic, number one. We are focused on authenticity right now, and we should be, but you also should know, don't be hard on yourself, because who you are and what you're doing is authentic to you. It takes a long time to fully expose yourself, in every single way and feel safe. And that is okay. That is all right. Okay. If you got a tippy toe, tippy toe. If you're running, run. It's fine. All right. So anyways, back then I had a client, and I've got to remember back to this, who had emailed me. Now, this was a client of another person because I used to do readings for another person. All right. Beautiful, lovely soul. Okay. And this person had emailed to me, maybe he was a client, I can't remember, or maybe he got wind of me that way, but some way he got my email and was describing all of these things going on with him. And when I tried to help this client, it was very tumultuous because I'm also clairsentient. I can feel things in my body, so I could feel what he was going through. He had attached himself to me, so you guys should be aware that can happen as well. If you can feel things in your body, you will feel it. But if not, just know that people can also attach themselves to you energetically, and you might not feel it. And they might not intend it so. This person was doing this, but he did not intend to do this. He didn't know he was doing it. Yeah. Anyway, all of this stuff was going on. I've got to cut to the chase because it's going to get long. There was a lot of stuff that he was trying to purge from himself. He had energies, negative energies. And Guardian, I know you'll be able to relate to this in some way. This beautiful human soul, he could not help the fact that he had, or didn't understand how to let go of these energies that were constantly attacking him and contacting him and inhabiting him even. And so in trying to get them out, I could visualize, I asked for Archangel Michael's help. This is when I first started asking archangels, specifically Archangel Michael and Archangel Raphael, to help me with things, especially Raphael, I think, in that instance as well, for the healing factor. But I brought Michael in, you guys, because Archangel Michael's energy, that energetic signature, is one of protection as well. And they can quarantine things. And oh my goodness, visually, I could see this being quarantined. And they were pulling the energies out of him. It was like, okay, picture a person in it looked like a burrito of tornadoes. That's such a weird way to put it. But it was like a tornado around him, and he's wrapped up like this. So like mist almost, like Guardian was saying before, but like it's moving. And they're quarantining these energies that need to come out of him. And they're pulling them out. And I was asking for no one to be hurt back then. I was so terrified. I don't want anybody to be hurt, especially on my watch. Like even the beings that were coming out of him, because I was so linked up with extraterrestrials that I could feel their plight, their stressors. And some of the negative ones I was already trying to help heal, including reptilians who wanted to break from their mandate, if you will. of inflicting pain or following orders. Okay. This was happening 6 years ago. And so, and that's a possible thing that's what I was alluding to earlier, what the Arcturians brought through earlier. What we're capable of as humans is much more than we understand. Our healing capabilities are very, very similar to Arcturians, actually. That's where we're actually going, guys, to be able to heal on this level. So anyway, so yeah, this crazy stuff was going on. I could see it in my mind's eye. I could feel things being ripped out of this person, and I've seen that on more than one occasion, these things. And if you're not prepared for this, like Pamela was talking about, to stay in your authority, and even intuitively, I knew to even not give permission, like, please don't let anybody be hurt, even though that seems like something you shouldn't need to say. Intention is everything. And also when to cut it off. Back then, I didn't know when to shut things down, when to revoke my permission, when to say, that's enough, I need to rest, like this sort of thing. So it was just insane. And so a lot of you, it's interesting how all of this is getting brought up with, the multiple extragalactic or spiritual contact from multiple entities and that sort of thing. A lot of you are clairvoyant. If you're clairsentient, whatever way you feel it or see it, just know, please revoke access to yourself from even those things that mean us well, because they will not necessarily know when to stop if you don't tell them until you have been pulled through the mire. Okay. So that was a little bit of a tangent, but that's what that made me think of, was that experience.
Yeah. We also have a question in the audience, and I don't mean to just fly over what you just said, but it's been repeated a couple of times. So I just want to make sure that this person, Rocco, where is it? Here we go. Brain injury. Rocco had a brain injury 3 years ago and heard a voice say, "This is it." And has Rocco scared even to this day. This was 3 years ago. And this is it. You'll actually probably notice this is a second time asking this question. For anybody who doesn't get answered, please just repeat yourself and let yourself be known. We got a lot of paired channeling too, so I don't get to see every comment. So sometimes I miss something. I'm just going to respond, and then please, anyone, go ahead, Yolanda. I would love you
Sorry, to. No. Or did you have a response first? I can hold it. I got it.
Please.
Okay. Okay. I was just asking some questions about that. This is it. I've had these things happen too, where, you're going to get different instructions, you're going to get different answers to questions, and then that answer will change. So you've changed trajectory many times since then, and you can continue to change trajectory. And yes, and we will go even farther to say that if indeed that had been it in some way, like a finality or a diagnosis or, something like that, okay, something not positive in your experience, you can make a decision that that is not your intention, it's not what you chose, and you are going to reroute. That's where you are in your experience, your power. Let's call it a power level. I feel like I'm gaming now with this. I've got teenage kids, y'all. But yeah, this is where you are in your abilities, okay, regardless of who in your head said this is it. And I was asking about if it was fear. But now I'm being just told to say, let the fear go immediately, as quick as you can. It's not as easy as it sounds, obviously. But the reason that they are emphasizing that is because the frequency of the fear is going to hold just out of reach, just on the periphery, what you actually want to see your experience look like. You have a picture of what you want your experience to be like, but the fear that you don't have control over this is keeping you from developing in your world that experience for yourself. And you don't have to really do anything to develop it necessarily. There's no action necessary except to release the things that you no longer need.
Yeah.
That's what I got from the Arcturians.
To add to that, and probably simply reiterating, what I understood too is when I read that is, and I actually did star your comment, and then we've been following the momentum from earlier, is that that was a choice point, and a choice was made, and some dimensions or versions of you did actually pass away. Like literally, those parts of you went. The other part that I got immediately when I read that was that at that moment, you in some way embrace the likelihood of your own demise, and that was needed to be done, not for you to leave, but for that embracing moment so you can release some of the things that were anchoring you in a false timeline, or and one that was out of alignment for you anyway.
Mhm.
I believe most of the near-death experience and things like these are just that, really, is we find ourselves facing what we are told to expect as being that like the end of our mortal experience kind of thing, and that instead reinvigorates life. And we see that time and time again. Someone had a near-death experience, and all of a sudden they're a different example of themselves because they've been able to release all of this other stuff that's been there. We say it's our priorities are messed up, but what it actually is that we've anchored we energetically look at a big poof ball, and some of these poof ball, they're all light. It's light, all these beams of light coming off of us. And they're going into us and being released from us, constant flow. And some of them look kind of gray or even brown, and they've anchored us in a different timeline or a different reality of some kind. And have you guys ever heard of the walking trees? There are trees that actually walk. They can go up to 4 meters a year, if I'm not mistaken. What they do, they're really cool. You can look it up. It's called walking trees. I'm telling you this because this is what we do energetically. This is what it looks like to me. Is that what they'll do is they'll start to grow roots on the front, the direction that they want to go. And those roots will start to dig into the ground when the ones beneath them, behind them, I mean, that they're leaving behind, start to die away. And they brown and gray and then fall away. And these trees, they'll continue to get closer and closer to water sources and stuff like that. Well, that's what we're doing. And those roots aren't dying away fast enough right now. That's what's happening. So there are individuals coming forward to assist us and helping us remove those false anchors so we can be propelled then further forward.
I love that. Trees, yes, people know. Yes, the walking trees, their roots move in a group.
Yep.
Yeah. Amazing.
Oh, you commented inside the
So yeah, like
instead of
so we don't miss her comment. Like Carolina just commented something. So
Oh, I see. Go ahead.
Oh,
Well, she says, Carolina says, I have been with my healer for 10 years, have been giving him so much money, even thought I couldn't afford it. He helps me, but I don't feel dependent by myself, addicted to him. Can you feel something? I'm going to let you guys have it if you want, and I have something to add to it as well. Okay,
well,
I'm just going to say this, is that if you are asking this question, the question's present for a reason, right? We 100% are designed to heal ourselves. We are. If we can manage our own, I know this is going to sound really weird, but if you can manage your own mucus and learning how to release the mucus from your body, that's that's 90% of the job. It's got to do with that. And you know what we've been taught to do is to depend or expect that only an outside or an intermediary can be a channel, a healer, an intuitive master. We are all of those things. And um, belief in lack of is the cause of all suffering. And that includes lack of self ability, the a lack of um, being able to heal, and these kinds of things. Now, I'm not saying that your healer or anybody's healers aren't good people and they're not helping us. Though the role I find myself being in this capacity, I unfortunately I love to see people and I want to see them over and over again for sure. However, my job is to not have you come back over and over again. You know what I mean? My role is to show you your own power so you can then utilize it. Like the healing I remember doing with Guardian that was hugely impactful on me. What happened was I then energetically got to see how to do that for myself. He didn't tell me what he was doing, but I was able to be in the moment and understand it. And healers aren't supposed to come and lay their hands on you and fix you every time you have a headache. That's you. And it's not only that, but all healing needs have an underlying emotional level. And that emotion body is why QHHT is popular. That's what Dolores Cannon's work was all about. If you go back into previous incarnation cycles, you can see the emotions that you dragged along with you all through however many incarnation cycles. And that's telling you this in this body too, but it's happening in the liver because the anger and the fear, right? That hasn't been resolved. It's happening, and so following your own guidance here, doing meditations, learning about minerals and herbs, eating things that grow close to your biosphere. If it grows in your backyard or in your window, it's going to be like 100 times better for you than if it grew a county over from you. So if it's growing closer to you, it's creating. That's why farmers put seeds in their mouth. You stick them between your gum and your cheek, and you code those seeds with what your body requires, and it truly grows that. It's the most amazing thing. So, and then lastly, this is something that might be useful for a lot of people. If you're asking a question like this, then perhaps there is something, clearly there's something for you to look at. You know what I mean? Just as own your shit. Kaz Kelly says here, realizing the addiction is almost like a first step. You are awesome, huge heart, and you are all you need. Exactly. And
Well, and I wanted,
I was going to say one last thing. And
okay.
just a side note too, but this is also useful to know, is that when we're choosing health, a lot of the time we don't realize that we're not doing every level of healing. And so meditation practices are incredibly important. And I just realized while there was aspects of healing that we did on yesterday's meditation that's free. If you want to check it out, our Telegram group, I post a lot of free meditations in the group, and Archangel Michael sealed with the crown chakra and the root chakra, showing that, and there was a lot of stuff that many of us had collected there, and that often resolves half of the difficulty. So if you're interested, the link is in the description for you to join that Telegram group. That was all I wanted to say. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to add to that, like in the middle, I didn't want to stop you, but I just kept, the entire in between everything is just trust yourself. This is what we're learning right now collectively, is to trust ourselves in the first place. So it's like a collective programming as well. And that's all what addiction, it all stems from that, actually.
Yeah.
We don't trust that we're going to be able to come through it on our own. We don't trust that we can handle that pain. We don't trust that we will be able to make it to the next step. But trust your healing ability from within, period, whatever that looks like for you. Um, and, there was something else I wanted to say about the relationship between if you want to say maybe healer or reader, and you know what, this doesn't even stop at this community. We're talking about medical doctors, also psychiatrists, if not that that's necessary, maybe you don't use any of these people, you could say educators, whatever it is. But especially when it comes to spiritual healing for these purposes, look for people that are going to encourage you to step into your power all the time, just all the
Yeah.
time. Anyone who is forgetting, well, I don't want to vilify, because it doesn't mean that somebody's necessarily bad. They just maybe didn't think of it that day, or maybe they just come from a different perspective and it's well intended. So I want to be careful not to vilify someone who is doing awesome things, but just really look for, if you're on a long-term sort of journey, for somebody who's going to put you back into your power as often as possible with their words, with their deeds, with their intention, and even so far as to give you steps in that direction as well. Okay. Because yeah, it can become a cycle, even if a person doesn't feel they're becoming addicted to something and they really are just going back for the next step and then the next step and then the next step, it can still kind of like morph into this cycle that's endless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And don't give your power away to experts is very good. Yeah. Allowing there's lots of benefits. I pointed out guardians use help,
A lot of,
when I did.
yeah.
I mean, he showed me through the process of it how to sometimes we just need the edge, get the edge on it, And so for sure healers have a purpose. It's just
A
it's
huge purpose.
yeah, it's just
Yeah.
learning, rather than needing to be always going to a healer every time something's going on, then you're kind of giving your power away, kind of like we said, right?
hmm Yeah. And should I mention this? I'm going to be careful about this because we don't want to go into lack consciousness either.
Mhm.
We're kind of in this limbo back and forth there. So I want to be careful how this is said. But, yeah, surround selves, and this also includes people who are going to, be doing services where you render money or you have some sort of exchange. Really feel into the nature of that exchange as well, okay? In terms of when it's repetitive too, when it's a cycle, okay? But
Mhm.
again, you don't want to go into lack consciousness either. you know,
Exactly.
um, yeah, yeah.
Which was that quote again, like belief in lack is the root cause of all suffering.
Yeah.
And, that is talking about everything, lack in particular of self-worth, of ability. That's what lack
Yeah.
really means. The all of that is it causes then the lack narrative regarding abundance and financial stability. That's
hmm
just the side
Yeah.
effect of like knocking people off at the knees. Um,
hmm
so we have one question. Is that okay, Guardian? Okay. Um, it's really late in Guardian Land, and so
Oh,
we're gonna we're gonna end this soon. But Donna Tara did have a question a moment ago that just need
oh,
to find it again. It's up here someplace. She says, "Oh yeah, here we go." Question: I checked my body temp today because of feeling cold and discovered it lower than usual, 94.2 rather than my normal 96.8. Any suggestions? So I have something to add. And then I know that others have their is here with regarding to such things. This is something that is super common for those of us that are kind of in this awareness. Um,
mhm.
because uh, with light is cool. Light,
Mhm.
that we're containing more and more light, a higher quantity of light, and
Mhm.
as we do so, we drop our core temperature. We truly do. I actually didn't even realize it was so weird until the beginning of lockdown when they started to make everybody check their temperature before you go into places, and I was always like, say, do it the side of my head, don't touch my third eye, but like, um anyway, is that they would, luckily for me, it was winter time, so I could blend in. They're like, "Oh, you must be really cold." And I would just be like, "Hmm," because but I'm regular. I'm not cold, though you were feeling the sensation of feeling cold too. So, um, there's probably something more there that that either Yolanda or Guardian could add to it, but I just know this is a something a lot of us are doing where our core
Mhm.
temperatures are dropping.
No, I agree with you, Pamela. I really don't have anything to add to that. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
It's more about the dissemination of the code and the speeding up of your vibration and therefore holding more light. So, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Guardian, do you have anything to add?
No, not really.
It's okay.
And my core temperature in general is lower than other people's. So
Yeah,
Okay.
same.
Oh, but I do want to say, just for all of us here, if you do feel it necessary to see a professional, like if
Yeah.
follow your intuition always. Your own intuition trumps ours all day long, in the
Yeah.
moment. So yeah, if you feel like you need to go see somebody, go make sure you're actually okay. But if you're not feeling that intuitive hit to do that, this is I definitely agree with you, Pamela
Yeah.
and Guard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally
And
agree
I think
too.
it's a great question though.
Right. I
Yeah.
mean, and it sometimes really helps just to get that. It's annoying that that's the case, but sometimes it really does help when people outside of us tell us that we're okay. And I've spent a lot of times going to doctors over the years, through this really noticeable ascensions experience, and I so much that I got told later on that they marked me as a drug seeker, even though I never filled their prescriptions. I
That's
never
so
filled them. Yeah, because I would
that's
go
funny.
and be like, okay, now this other thing's happening, and they're like, you're healthier than you were last time you were here, and I needed, I for me, for my own balance, that was useful to hear, and
Mhm.
but I wanted to be sure.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it turned out I was, and that was reassuring for me. Um, and so if that's you, by all means, go get checked out, and no one's shaming you or anything. It just, you know,
Yeah. Oh, and move your bodies more as you feel this core
wiggle.
temp drop. Move your bodies, move the water in your bodies, touch the ground, okay? So you can get that electrical current
Yeah,
and get that grounding from the earth herself. And yeah, hi Layla. She's pointing out about not being codependent. She had a couple of good
yeah.
comments there too
There we go. Not
about
becoming
trusting
dependent.
ourselves.
Yeah,
But yeah, yeah.
yeah. I mean, letting yourself feel where you are in your body, you'll know. It's weird. I know we got to close it. Just this last closing statement, and then each of you can have a moment to add something, and then we'll end the conversation for this time. Is that trust yourself. Trust yourself. We've been taught our whole lives to not trust ourselves. We have been raised by a civilization of narcissists. We've been gaslit. We've been told to believe that we're insane when we're getting the stuff that I was told when I was little, that I was like imaginary and like weird and crazy. Now everybody's talking about those things. And it's like,
Mhm.
you know, we've always been having that. And so it's about learning to trust yourself and then allow yourself to find your new balance
Yeah.
inside, because that balance marker isn't always easy to measure by. It's not always easy to figure out that you're really okay. We're going through a process of our dormant DNA is coming out of dormancy. And so that's got a lot of spiritual growing pains associated with it. We're going to feel weird. We're going to feel funky. Is it an end of life story? Are we in danger? Most likely not. But if you feel that you are, by all means, go get checked out. The least case scenario here is you'll get some kind of validation for however much it costs to go, and then you'll have to worry about it anymore. So, thank you.
You ended that right at 144 in Arizona, 344 in Florida, 344, 144.
That's awesome. Guardian, would you like to add anything before we close?
Yeah, like Sana just wrote, love this closing line, trust yourself. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
That's the end of everything. If you can trust yourself, then you won't have as much untrue kind of conflict stuff moving through. You just know. You can tell, and you'll be.
And we're the new teachers. We are the new representation and also the teachers of this, how to trust ourselves. This narcissistic epidemic is really just, they were programmed to do that to us. We have to be the ones to teach this. So, yeah, but we are. I think that we are fulfilling that role, all of us, you here. And it's only going to broaden. More people are waking up, you guys. It didn't stop. That's still happening where we're going to have these experiences, but yeah, people are awakening into their hearts. It's happening.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And last thing real quick, we due to unforeseen circumstances, we're not doing our regular Zoom meeting today, but we will be back next week to do our regular Zoom meeting. And if you are interested in coming to this celebration for June 19th, 20th, and 21st, you can find the link to that website to sign up for that in the description of this video. That will be in the description in a moment. And I'm just reminding you all that there's only like a few tickets that we're selling because we want to keep it intimate. So if you want to come, now's the time to start. There are payment options. You can pay up to in 4 payments if you want. So anyway, I'm looking forward to seeing you all. I love you. Thank you so very much for the 2 of you for joining us and celebrating this anniversary.
Join digitally, like on Zoom or something.
What did you say?
Like, can I join digitally? Maybe like for an event or something on Zoom?
There's actually no reception out there.
Oh, okay.
That's a good question.
I know. It is a good question. Apparently, there's no reception out there. So I'm not. I mean, if we could stream, I will. But if we can't, I also kind of think that's kind of neat that people are really going to be cut off. You know what I mean? I mean, you drive down the road and
that's
talk
true.
on the phone. But
yeah. Hopefully, you guys can get some good video footage, and then edit later and let people in on some of it.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna record so much. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. And thank you so much for the honor of being here for the anniversary of the channel. I love you both so much.
Honored to be asked. Happy anniversary again. Happy anniversary.
Thank you. Blessings.